Union remains one of the most important political and economic actors in the Western Balkan six countries. The European Union and the Western Balkan six countries' relationship should be better performed through concrete political actions in order to reach the European regional perspective in bloc. The stabilitocracy that the European Union has accepted as the most appropriate response to ethnic disputes and highly divided societies at the Western Balkans has only fueled the illegitimate domestic political leadership and undermined the trust of Western Balkan people at the EU project. The war in Ukraine has opened a new toolbox for the European Union security strategy, so the Western Balkan six countries should better project their societies with higher determination and clarity towards democracy, accountability, and the good neighborhood values.
Western Balkans is a region that in fact is in the middle of Europe, surrounded by members of European Union and NATO, and it would be just logical to become part and parcel of the European Union. And this is the common dream of all these countries, as it used to be the common dream of the Visegrad 4 countries as well. However, the situation now is much more difficult than at the beginning of the century, and it needs more effort, more reforms, more real commitment from our side, but also from the side of the European Union. The important thing is to remember that we four managed to become more European also because of the regional integration you indulged in much quicker than the countries of our region for many understandable reasons. And I believe that your example can still be a very important guideline for the regional cooperation in the Western Balkans and its move toward full European integration.
The Visegrad 4 countries have already emerged as strong supporters of the Western Balkans EU membership bid and have done a lot in terms of exchanges of experiences and sharing of best practices. At points, certain V4 member states act as advocates for the Western Balkans accession, but sometimes this is not the most sincere, especially with regards to overlooking the rule of law standards. Of course, we must not forget that some of the V4 countries are not exactly the model EU members. In a situation when the Western Balkans is struggling with issues of corruption and deficient rule of law, so do Poland and Hungary. However, we have had some positive experiences from the Western Balkans in terms of re-democratization already, so perhaps it can be a two-way street, that even the V4 can learn from the Western Balkans. The situation of civil society is even much better. This project itself is a part of a wider cooperation between civil societies in both regions, and I have to point out that the cooperation in this regard is very positive and fruitful. Again, I have to reiterate that we should continue transferring knowledge in both directions, especially with regards to issues such as human rights and quality of democracy.
At this point, we should admit that the European Union enlargement policy is stalled. The EU could not deliver any major breakthroughs over the past years. Yes, it's a two-way street. The enlargement policy is a two-way street. The Western Balkan countries cannot be expected to meet the accession criteria unless the European Union offers a credible enlargement perspective and real incentives in order to meet those. At the same time, a credible perspective does not mean turning a blind eye to the state of the rule of law or the economic criteria, but simply recognizing that political will is needed from the side of the Western Balkans as well, which is increasingly lacking nowadays. The question remains, however, what impact the current war in Ukraine will have on the enlargement policy, if so. As Ukraine requested accelerated accession to the EU in response to the Russian aggression, it poses the question whether the same should apply to the Western Balkans as well. The Western Balkans, which is the only area with a realistic chance of joining the European Union in the enlargement policy. Of course, keeping in mind that there is no fast-track admission to the European Union. In the enlargement discourse, we should not connect the case of Ukraine with the Western Balkans. Supporting Ukraine in wartime is a political statement from the side of the EU. Handling the Western Balkans at the same level would decrease the EU's credibility even more in the region. Although the war in Ukraine is also a momentum for the European Union to enhance its enlargement policy, starting with opening the accession talks, the negotiation talks with Albania and North Macedonia.